Yes, I can confirm that through the chair.
Well, thank you. That means that action.
What,
I don't know that it's complete yet.
Yeah. But it can be updated.
That's right.
the pinky one, 995, landholder resource agreements, there's not much in the comments. Can you refresh my memory what that was about?
It's basically a template which the guys have actually in part implemented, but I'm yet to see it, is to sign any actions or involvement of private property owners in any work that we do, that we formalise it. They verbally told me that they are doing it, but I think we just want to standardise the process, so whether it be CAP, water, or any other activities on private land associated with any of our works, that we make sure we sign an agreement. And the suggestion by the CEO at the time was even with these compensation, but to me that's not necessarily the driver. It's just simply to get away from the handshake deals of Radio Road, if we can use your water type of arrangements, but that gets formalised and placed on Radio. So that was the intent of it. Now, I'll go actually for the next fiscal make a note. I'll ask the guys to provide me with the standard templates that we can share it with us. But that was the whole purpose of that one. Is ensuring that we do sign formal agreements with every single property owner that we are dealing with.
No, I do remember the discussion. Thank you, Gerard.
It's not onerous, but there's still a few issues outstanding from the past where the agreements were done and come back to bite us.
Yeah, correct. I think we can think of a few recent ones.
Okay, well, Peter Manning, Brown. Blackwater School water supply. Most it's in progress.
It's in progress, but what just happened recently, we're still looking at changes that need to be made to the actual Hunter Street irrigation to be able to send the water separately. And getting that price, because it's all been interlinked with the sports field irrigation. Alongside the control valves.
Okay.
Through the chair, do we have a cost on that, Peter? Do you know what you're going to do, or?
Haven't got a firm cost yet, but that under 50, I need to change the stuff at the pump station.
So the integrity of the line to the actual school, the way we're proposing to do is okay.
There's still a valve to be repaired and allow
One of the roads.
Mackenzie Street, one of the two 4-lane roads.
But it's just adjustments we've got to make on our end.
Yes, at the end, at the sports field end, is the line has been tied into the irrigation system, so it needs to be separated out.
So even when we get that correct, have you got operational budget for that this year or not? Or?
I haven't budgeted it separately, but it's something we'll just work through. We need to bring something additional to BR1.
Councillor Ross.
The 1092, the Willows water situation. As we get drier and the heavy winter, we're going to be into another. Please do something about our water, or help us do something about our water. What can we do that in? Willows.
Through the chair, just to clarify, we have a policy, and the policy at this stage, just to refresh everybody, states that there has to be a draft declaration before we intervene. So that is the standard policy, so we won't act otherwise. What I have from that resolution, which was passed at the council meeting on last November, was that we would develop a business case. What I've since uncovered was that apparently a business case was prepared way back when the Shire engineer still was, Kev Bickhoff was still here and Grant Hole. Apparently they had looked at the business case, and I tried to find it. Apparently it cost millions and millions of dollars to provide develop a scheme to provide water to Willows. So at that stage it was deemed unfeasible. I'm happy to pay a consultant to prepare another business case to just see if there's justification to develop the scheme. But as it stands currently, we have just that policy that will be triggered as soon as there's a grant declaration, and then we will supply water.
Through the chair, I just think that, like, that's okay. We've got a huge big shire here. It's not going to be all drought declared. I mean, we have pockets probably that should be drought declared now, but they're lifting drought declarations across the state, so I can't see us going into that. But if a person's got no water, I think, you know, it's silly to stick with a policy that doesn't fit. I mean, if people have got no water, they've got to have water, and like, we might have to charge them, you know, proportionately towards it, but I don't know. But I don't think you could see people suffer and not have water. I mean, it's a basic necessity of life after all. And the other thing, getting away from the willows, is we need to keep a watch on Rolleston as well.
Just to clarify, the policy means that council provides water free of charge to Willows. At this stage, the Willows residents, as anybody else, as people in Pina Valley, if they run short on water, they procure and tank in. So I'm not sure where council would want to go with this, saying that if somebody in the Pina Valley suddenly runs dry, are we going to provide water there? So all being equal, there are currently water supplies. I don't know who operates out in the gem fields, but there are current water carters that provide water to community, and we do charge them
Domestic rate.
domestic rate. So there is a network. So the question is just whether council and how we're going to do the judgment as to who gets free water outside drought declaration and should we be in the business of charging them if we do deliver. I'm just putting it out there as a...
Well, I know some of the people are actually ripping them off with charges up there, and I just think if council's involved, they may not do that. If we organise it or something, I mean, I'm not asking us to pay everything for it, but I think, you know, we need to look after the people in that area because they haven't got a, you know, permanent supply of water.
Now we do know that, but
Yeah.
as I said, so, and I'm using Nikki Nabale just because I know that is, well, doesn't have a
But I think, I'm just saying that, you know, our policy is great for when we're a drought declaration, but there's a humane side of everything too, so we just have to monitor.
So maybe there's a stepped approach to this. You want to look at this because I think when we went there for a community consultation, there was a general resilience there that most people provide their own water, and there was actually a couple of people there that had run out of water, but the vast majority of people said that's their own management.
Correct.
So it's really up to them to do that. However, I take on board what, you know, Councillor Nixon's saying, but there can be a mechanism in there as another part of that strategy about what we do in the event where we're not drought declared, and there are some water supply shortages there, and whether or not, I think that's what Gail's saying about, you know, that the council provide water at a cost or at a specified cost, because at that point it is the property owner's responsibility to have their own water supply. So I think that's where we need to go next, I think, because, you know, there is a broad understanding in that community that there's not a reticulated water supply. People have their own tanks and supplies. There are situations where, like Councillor Nixon said, if people get into strife, well then we might offer a service at a cost to those people. And then if it's not suitable, then they can go and access it from the private market.
Technically, we don't call water, so we'll be subcontracting that service.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Peter, we'll make a note of it, but as I said, I'm not convinced we need to do a business case to have a permanent retic supply, because I don't think it's going to.
It'll never happen, no, they won't
It's
have a
the
permanent.
distance and the cost is going to be cost prohibitive.
It's cheaper to take a few truckloads and have a
When required, correct. All right, councillors, any?
All right, that's the resolutions register. The review of upcoming agenda items via the rolling reports, they're there and they roll on for 7 pages, so there's quite a lot rolling along there. One thing that's been on there for ages and we just don't talk about it, and that is the Blackwater pool defects. And
Through the chair, there was a discussion at executive leadership team of recent time in a review in regards to reports. We felt at that time that probably isn't, I mean, it's moved on for quite some time, there probably isn't a need to bring it before council, unless council has a different view in that regard. So I think perhaps the list has not necessarily been updated with the LT discussion.
So there's not something for us to be concerned about with that particular?
Not my understanding, no, Madam Chair.
I think they're fairly minor, aren't they?
My understanding, the discussion at the executive leadership team, so it probably needs some updating in to be reflective of the discussions that have occurred.
Yeah. Council, any other questions about those rolling reports? No. Well, we'll keep moving. I've been reliably informed we have no petitions.
Correct.
So,
Chair.
material personal interest, conflict of interest, personal gifts and benefits, anything to declare? No. So we'll move straight into our reports and commercial services at the top of the list. So Michelle, would you like to lead us through those?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first report for the committee today is a report in regards to advising councillors of the upcoming Australian Airport Association National Conference to be held in Brisbane on the dates from the 13th of November to the 16th of November. Councillors will have this in the agenda today due to the early booking discount which closes on the 27th of July, and generally there's substantial discounts that will apply to take advantage of the early bird deadlines. Within the agenda for council is the program outline. Generally the national conference is a long conference. It generally does go 4 or 5 days, but it certainly is well worth an attendance. There would, I imagine, being officers, not being defined which officer would attend at this point in time, but this is before council for your consideration. The costs are within the report. It's also a fairly expensive conference, as all airport conferences seem to be, but that information is in the report for councillors. And the recommendation is there if a councillor or councillors would like to attend.
Thank you, Michelle. Councillors, did anyone have an interest in?
I think the only one that probably, the mayor wants to attend. Were you interested in going, Karen?
Through the chair, that week, there's council meetings on the Tuesday, a pretty strong week, so I would be able to go to council meetings.
So I think staff will be there, won't they?
So I will have an officer in attendance. It's generally our practice for that conference.
Which would be great. I was just thinking, Councillor Bell was also on that advisory committee.
No, the mayor and Councillor McIndoe and Councillor Nixon also attends.
Yeah. No, I just think that, as the mayor says, there's meetings on that week as well, and I think some of the staff are there to know what's happening.
Absolutely. Someone can report. Great, that would be great.
I'll move to receive the report.
Thank you, Councillor Nixon. Anyone seconded Councillor Robb? We've received that. Michelle, I'll just ask that you might continue in relation to the next agenda item. That's a report of the Emerald Airport Advisory Committee meeting on the 11th of June.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the report is, as such, in essence, a covering report to the Airport Advisory Committee meeting, which was held on the 11th of June. There were no recommendations forward to council following that that meeting. I will take the minutes as read and happy to answer any questions if there are any in that regard.
Anything particular, Michelle, that you wanted to highlight, or Councillor Nixon, you're on that one as well, or those?
Not
Through the chair, I don't really have anything to add there. It was the officers there present were, provided all the information to the meeting. It was one of those very good procedural meetings where most things rolling along, except obviously that we acknowledged David Boss's very, very good work. He was acknowledged in this room, and at his home digs we took the opportunity in welcoming Lane and Kelly as well. So I think that was probably the highlights of them. Refer to General Manager, Commercial Services, if she thought there was.
No, the only thing I was going to touch on, Mr Mayor, was, yeah, the temporary manager arrangement is working very well. Pretty only happened for 3 months, but Lane, very experienced aviation person, and sleeping at night, which is a good thing.
All right, no, that's fantastic. That's what we like to hear, everything's ticking along nicely. And the general departmental update, Michelle, we might just keep rolling
Keep rolling
on while you're warmed up over there.
A resolution?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, we better, sorry, we've rolled a little too far there. So if we could just have moved Councillor Nixon, seconded Councillor Brindle-Comer that we adopt those minutes. As presented. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Madam Chair. So the departmental report for commercial services. In regards to the airport, I suppose a couple of matters to highlight we are experiencing difficulty in recruiting airport reporting officers. So we have been out recently through a recruitment process. 4 offers to suitable candidates have been declined, so we're having to rethink that a little bit. I've asked our HR area to actually go out with a purpose-built advertisement internally, having a look in regards to is there anyone internally within our organisation who may be looking for a bit of a job change, and someone who's local and going down that path as well. And we're more than happy to train and give the right person. We can't just let anyone loose on a runway, but to give the right person the necessary training that they need to operate as an airport reporting officer. So we do have some difficulties there at the moment. We're also undertaking some work in regards to fire hydrant system at the airport, which requires some work. So council will see something come before it, probably at a budget review, I would think, for some additional costs that will be incurred in bringing the fire hydrant system up to standard at the airport. I was recently involved in a meeting in regards to the runway upgrade project. So council will be aware this is a runway enrichment program, and we've undertaken the enrichment work, and we're now at the process of where we were getting close to going out to tender again for the reconstruction of the runway ends. We've run into a bit of a hiccup there in regards to a second testing of the runway material is quite different to the first testing, so I'm asking them to validate that. And ACOM, who are our technical experts for that project, are coming back to us. I have a meeting with them and airport staff and Paul Martin, who's undertaking our project management work for us at the moment in regards to options moving forward. So that's slightly delaying the tender going out again, and there's a number of options that are being presented. Some of them significantly increase the cost of the project. But at the end of the day, what we would look at and view that, the future is that we potentially will build a second runway. So does the existing runway have to have a 20 or a 30-year life in view that it potentially becomes a taxiway? So there's some of the options that we're looking at to further progress that project. We're confident that we still remain on target for the deadlines for the state government funding that's associated with that project, but just so councillors have a heads up in that regard. Quarry is doing quite well, and I will speak about that within the closed session of council. It's also tracking along with sale numbers to the end of the year, just over 90,000 cattle through. Capital works projects are also progressing well at the sale yards. I think the other thing to touch base with is the Australian Airports Association Queensland Divisional meeting. So that will be held in Emerald on the 16th and 17th of August. So there probably are, I don't know, be about 40 to 50 airport people who will fly into Emerald for that divisional meeting. So we were to hold it last year and it got changed on us. So that's good that AAA have honoured that commitment. We are making arrangements at one of the local facilities, and if councillors would like to attend that session, or even there's a networking dinner that council is sponsoring, on the evening, we will send an invite out to councillors, and if you could just respond in that regard. I'm hoping we've booked the mayor in to open the session for us.
Well, that invitation is there as of now, please.
And the other matter to touch on in the report is in regards to Emerald Sale Yards and the conflict of interest and duty. So, and as I spoke to the Deputy Mayor this morning, it's purposeful that we have included this matter in the open agenda today. At the sale yards, it's just due to the nature of the business. We would want to employ staff who have knowledge of the industry, who have worked in the industry, and you know, who may transact and have their own livestock in personal interests or business interests. So we identify at times that there can be a number of staff we employ at the sale yards who potentially may have a conflict of interest or duty, which is not to say that we can't employ them, but it's about how we manage that. So we wanted to be upfront here in regards to putting before the Finance and Infrastructure Committee how we do manage that, and that is through a conflict of interest management plan. We also have a register at the sale yard, so any member of staff who is transacting livestock, that's recorded in a register. That is then audited on a monthly basis by the commercial analyst, and that information also comes through to myself as the General Manager to look at that. We also have within the agenda for Council to review also is the procedure in which we undertake those processes. So as we say, this matter's been discussed also before at the Audit Committee. It's not to say that, I mean, we can't employ individuals who transact livestock within the industry. That's what we want, and I think you know, some of the risk is potentially there is reputational risk to council, but I think if we look at the sale yards and we look at how that has improved over a period of time by having experienced people operating that facility, so has our reputation also increased through having the right people in the job. So so this is a matter just being upfront and putting this before council for your information.
So have we adopted that plan and that policy yet, or is that?
The plan has been approved by the CEO. It is now in place. It has been provided to all staff at the sale yards. It will be signed off. We also have an additional measure in place in regards to the sale yards manager position. Senior executives of council, so Gerard, myself, for example, CEO, we're required to complete a register of interest, which is held confidentially through the CEO's office. That's not a requirement for the sale yards manager, the sale yard manager position, but he also has completed that. We do hold those details as well as an additional measure.
And so,
Chair, just it will go to Pacifica, the internal auditor, as well.
Oh, we will update the auditor in regards to the completion of these measures.
right. So they're live now.
Yep.
Yep.
That's right.
I think that's really good. Thanks for the background and just stepping us through that. I think that's a great step to take to give people reassurance around how we handle these matters when we're faced with them. So thank you, Michelle. Any other questions of GM Commercial Services before we move on to infrastructure and utilities? We will, yes, we will do that. There is a recommendation there that the council receive the Commercial Services Departmental Update Report highlighting the activities that you mentioned. We move Councillor Roll, secondly Councillor Greencomb, all in favour? Received. So no more questions for GM Michelle. Alright, Gerard, you're in the hot seat with infrastructure and utilities.
Peter, join us please. And Manager Infrastructure is called in sick today. He allegedly has the man flu, so I'll talk to his topics.
I wish
Councillors,
Jason well, I'm sure he's very sick.
he's actually sent me some information as well from his sick bed. So he's real.
I'm sure he's watching. Get well soon, Jason. That's a test.
first item on our agenda, councillors, is just, I've included the draft Inland Queensland Road Network Strategy, which is the reincarnation of the previous IQ RAP. It's currently reaching its finalisation or with this revision. I know, or I just have to make you aware, Councillor Rolfe can probably fill you in the detail, but Councillor Rolfe has been on the steering committee as part of the process. So as it stands currently, they I've been advised that they're hoping to finalise it in the.
Yes, we have a teleconference tomorrow afternoon, so which has been unfortunate to date people, but the chair and RDA have been in Canberra on the I think it was the 28th of June. So there will be an update, and it will become the document, I suppose, rather than the draft. So so it'll have to be an update next time.
So I'll just, as soon as it's final, we'll just bring it back again for information.
And just on from that, this is the final of basically of IQRAP as well. There's no indication that we'll be going on with
Funding.
Funding.
This was just a one-off, well, we funded the review, so I think that was a one-off funding request, so yeah, we don't expect that this continues. Then I'll go to Transport Infrastructure Development Scheme. Obviously, state government handed down their budgets, and we thought it's fortuitous to come and inform council as to what state government or DTMR specific main roads have specifically handed out. Now, the Transport Infrastructure Development Scheme, we did bring a report basically showing the works program pre-adoption of QTRIP, the funding document of main roads. So we just reaffirm that these are the two projects that we're currently funding. The standout is obviously for council to note is the fact that we're putting $950,000 of our TIDS allocation into Springfield Tambo Road. And I believe, based on the feedback from that last community consult down in the bottom corner, that we will continue the seal from where we ended, and the community supports that view. So that's a project that's currently in development. And then the real big issue is the fact that the state allocation to their own network effectively is very lean within Central Highlands. Other than the bit of work they're doing on the overtaking lanes on the Capricorn Highway, effectively there is no upgrade or spend on state-controlled network within the current QTRIP. So from an advocacy point of view, I think this does touch on a topic, and I'm probably stepping out of an operational area flagging that this has been raised through LGAQ from Western Shires, where they are pushing state government to, I'm trying to think of the term, but basically to reinstate or some minimum level of funding for the less sustainable costs of Southwest, guaranteeing certain amount of DTMR works to keep them afloat, so to speak. I don't think we're at risk, but still it is disappointing seeing no investment whatsoever in state-controlled network in current Queensland transport infrastructure program.
So this is the capital spend, like the
That's the
repairs and
capital.
maintenance.
I'll-
I imagine it looks a bit sad.
Our maintenance does look slightly better, but I'll touch on that next.
Just with those, they're all overtaking lanes by the look of it, for the Cap Highway. Are any of them close to him, you know, have you seen?
No, I don't think they are. I
I'm
think
not
they're
sure, I think it's the window beyond, I'm not sure exactly where.
Have we got an opportunity to tender for any of that work?
Well, councillors, this is a good point. I haven't floated that idea, but again, DTMR also tends to RPC, well, you know,
Use their road tech.
they rotate people on Cap Highway projects. So we'll see if there's opportunity, if we can pick up some of the work. But thanks for flagging that. We'll definitely look at opportunities, but generally they also try and preserve quarantine a certain amount of work for their rotate people. Although I'm still surprised, and this is just a passing comment. One sent me a comment, comes Mr. William from his sick bed, so he is watching us.
What did I say?
He said, one sent me a comment.
Yeah, I was going to say, to have 6 overtaking lanes, east of Doringa.
Yeah, no, so yeah, he's flagging one.
Noted, thanks, Jason.
But what I did want to flag was the fact that they actually were constructing the works down on past the airport at the Luffa down south. They were actually, it was a Toowoomba crew up, so we probably should raise this issue with DTM and say, well, if they're not going to have constructed the local road tech crews, whether or not we should get a bite at the jury. So that's just
Good suggestion.
It's worth a try.
it's worth a try, but especially if they're going to bring their road tech crews from out of the region.
Yep.
We should probably say, well, wait a sec, maybe we can do it competitive. And I guess that digressing, but that's just to note, councillors. Any further questions about the lack of funding from DTM? And that's just the start of our woes. We were commissioned to do the audit of their signage on all their networks, and I'm going to deem that red, but the bad news is that we haven't really got very far, and it's clear that DTM did not have a good handle on how much work is involved. So as much as we know that our main signs in town and elsewhere on the highway network is in pretty sad state of repair, it is not really good news, because as much as we're going to have this audit, I think DTMR still has a principal focus that they will only look after the regulatory and warning signs, and the rest of the signs have absolutely no priority whatsoever. So regulatory is your speed, the white, red, and black signs. And warning is your orange ones, your triangular ones. So that is currently the focus. So I know RFPC, there's the expectation those signs will be taken care of. Anything the rest of it, the information,
The
big ones, green,
green,
unfortunately, it looks, if this is the way we're going, we.
I hope people have got really good navmans or GPS systems in their cars as well, and just can't read.
So again, that's a political battle. There's not just a lack of, and this is unfortunately capital. There's no indication that they even wish to fund signage replacement. If they can't even fund the audit, they definitely don't have a commitment to funding upgrades.
Brown tourism sort of signs, who's responsible for those?
On the highway, they are.
Yeah. Because they did a great job on the Carnarvon Highway recently. They've done from Rolleston South, but they've spelt Carnarvon wrong on some of the signs. Like, yeah, so the national parks have sent us some lovely photos of the incorrect spelling on some of the signage. So it's disappointing when they go to the trouble of putting new signs up that they can't even spell the thing right. But we have received the emails. But it's mainly the tourism ones, the brown ones, where it's wrong.
Through the chair, Gerard, just to clarify, the audit, did it just pick up the DTMR signs, or was it picking up the non-compliant signs on the roads?
No, it's not an enforcement activity, so it's purely just the road signage.
I just wondered with the high numbers of some of these roads.
If we're struggling,
With what push the numbers up.
if we're struggling with compliance of the signage, trust me, I think my nose has got less appetite than we have to.
The audit team are busy though, like one sign every 6 minutes and 100 signs per day and 4,100 signs picked up, like in the audit, that's a lot.
And discovering that DTMR didn't even know that how many signs they have, so clearly it's a wake up call.
Is there any indication that they'll be allocating budget to anything other than the the speed and the warning?
This audit is of all signs. I think that, as I indicated earlier, under RMPC, the obligation to look after the regulatory and warning signs is it. Like, we have obligations, so in our RMPC budget, the first priority is to look after those signs and keep them in good serviceable order. The rest is discarded as not priorities. So unfortunately, when you talk about funding, RMPC will be used to keep the roads safe. There is no current capital commitments in future. So the audit is just an audit. It's not suggesting that they're going to make a $10 million commitment to upgrade the sites. That's the reality of it.
Chair, can I just go back to the Q-Trip, please? There is a document that's the 2019 to 21-22 investment program. If it could be downloaded for people, if we put on document maybe?
We can organise it.
Yeah,
For the Fitzroy region.
yeah, that is good. And it just gives you a list of
It's planned.
what's planned. Lots of cycleways, of course. Just a comment.
And that takes us to the bit of good news, our 1890 road performance contract. And at a summary level, the good news is we are getting more money for the coming year. And if you look at the breakdown, we're getting more for maintenance, a bit more for gravel resheeting, and the other allocations are pretty much standard. And then there's a grid replacement allocation of 70,000. I have to confess to say, I'm not sure where that is. See if my man in his bed response, but in case, I'll move on to, unless there's questions, so that's only positive. It's not a lot more money, and we're glad to make it work. So we're going to, the fact that we're going to attempt putting Black Spot and Safer Road Sooner applications in. We've listed tentatively a shortlist. We don't seek approval at this stage, but it'll basically be fed with through the tag group as well. And I had a bit of context from Jason. He says that the statewide allocation for Black Spot funding is only about 12 million. The term is reactive projects, which is a benefit to cost ratio above 3. Now, when they do Black Spot, they calculate there's a cost for different types of accidents, and there's traffic volume and road user costs. So basically, if you can save accidents, obviously it becomes a benefit. The take on it also is that the second category is proactive projects is probably nothing more than about 50,000. So it's really just tinkering with signage and things such as that. So yeah, there's no big major intersection upgrades or road upgrades considered under Black Spot. It's generally just doing an audit of signs, etc., and trying to improve safety. So the biggest upgrade that we have, and I don't think that was done on the Black Spot, is the dedicated intersection, for example. But typically that would have been a Black Spot project, but it probably likely would not have got across the line on Black Spot funding because of the cost. But nonetheless,
Got to kill someone.
You have to kill something.
Yeah.
that's I don't want to say that, but ironically, yes, the number and severity of accidents add to the benefits of saving those type of accidents. So there's a short list for your information. We move on to the minutes of the Bowen Basin Regional Road Group. I probably won't comment anything more other than through our chair. There was nothing notable.
Business as usual, just the end of the year, kids, sign off, re-election of chair of Bowen Basin Regional, because it's at 12 months. There's a new chair of the technical group, Alan Hewitt,
From the line. Isaac.
Banana, isn't it?
No.
Oh, but, because Stephen Moe is not
Was
there
on.
anymore, so it's Alan Hewitt. A bit more discussion around the Ralston we call it truck stop. I don't know, I think, Chair, you went to a did you go to a CRG?
Yeah,
meeting after that?
I did read the minutes, and I'm a bit confused. I've read the minutes of this particular group, because the feedback that I was receiving, I understood it to be that TMR were unhappy with the location the community had chosen. The community is still happy with that location, the majority. What's got to happen, I believe, is TMR are not happy with the site. There's no point going to consultation, but the community are ready to go to consultation with that location and with that design. So take that out more broadly. But if TMR are not supportive of that location, well, then we've got a problem from the get-go. So I need to understand. And that's not reflected in those minutes. It's more, it sort of puts it back on the community.
Well, TMR representative Peter Trimble said that they probably should go and meet with Ralston community.
And through the chair, councillors, this goes back a while, but I attended a CRT when one DTMR officer turned up and promised her. I don't think the involvement, and I don't know if they still attend these CRG meetings, but I don't think that DTMRs in their previous engagement has really got beyond just talk. So it will be great getting DTMR to attend, but not the Queensland Transport side, the main roads officers, there's somebody Peter Trimble can identify, should attend and engage, and I'm happy to turn up as well if need be.
But I actually think it's something that on our consultation rounds in August, that we could probably talk about just generally with people at those different points. They all enter into Ralston, but I don't know Neville Perkins, but I think Neville made some valid points there. In relation to truckies liking to generally stop where there's good food, good showers and services and easily accessible to fuel up points. Well, it ticks all those boxes. That's one of the reasons that location was chosen. So
Well, to the chair, I just think it's going forward, what I think probably, what I understood it influenced probably their response was they thought that wasn't likely to get a town planning approval in that location. So I think if we sorted that out, then you can probably coerce, I guess, their decision going forward, I suspect.
And well, I mean, hopefully that is the case, because this was done in conjunction with their planning team.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think they've planned
that's
something
sure.
that ticks those boxes. I think we need, I'd like to see that we just check the planning.
Before we go on the round of consultation.
Let's take the draft plans out and maybe.
I'll tidy up the internal process. One other thing I can flag is Main Roads did not realise the bulk of it was sitting on a road reserve, I think it's Planet Street extension, so there's a road reserve, so there's a bit of sliver of council-owned land. Now, if push comes to shove, we can open it a road reserve if that's the issue. But I'll make sure I'll tidy up the planning and the land tenure issues before we go to consult. And the main crux of it, if there's support from the community, we have to weigh up whether it is the TMRs, how we take them on in terms of giving them financial support when it goes to any of their funding programs.
Because it's important, obviously, like the Mayor was saying, that from a planning perspective, it's right, and I had assumed that they had been quite thorough in that regard. But I was just at a point where perhaps if TMR are not supportive, then it's not much point getting communities' hopes up if we need to rejig things.
So Chair, is it worth us having a discussion again with TMR before the community consultation, because we don't have another Barn Basin meeting
Definitely.
before then, so.
Is it a good opportunity when we're on the road? We'll be meeting in the town, we'll be meeting at the gorge, down the valley, all the doors and Orion.
Through the chair, I'm just glancing out at the mayor, and when's our next steering committee? Isn't that, I thought that is before we go to the south. For some reason, I thought there was already a steering committee slotted in somewhere.
Oh, maybe.
I'm leaning on the mayor to tell, oh, here we go, it's on August the 8th.
No, that's just.
Too late.
Just
Yeah.
no, I think it's worthwhile having the meeting prior and just straighten it out.
Teleconference might just do it, right?
All right, that'll be good, you've got that in your red notes there.
So through the chair, just Danny, our comment I'd add to those minutes was, I think there was, I think Gerard Reid, who is our texter, our supporter, our sort of spoke that there was obviously a lot of footpath projects and school bus projects actually in some of that funding. So school bus shelters and stops, I think, highlighted that there is actually some good funding available for that stuff. So I think in terms of, I suppose, the feedback into CRGs or any other inquiries at the moment, there's some money there. So if we could look at some of those, I know at Yamala there's an issue, we had an issue with that inside one. But if there's any others you can think of, I would suspect that we should get those up probably through your road.
Yeah, because previously we discussed trying to use some of our TIDS funding for the school crossings and shelters and things, but now I'd have to look up what the funding's called, but they did raise it there, so if we can, make a start.
At, where the children crossing William Street and Springshore has never, nothing.
So there's quite a few crossings and things that we need to, and there's also, some of those that are listed on the TAG advisory group, so, agenda as well, so.
I'm just trying to find out whether this is, whether it's funded. I don't believe it's under Black Swan. I think all this money comes out of TIDS, anything to do with schools,
No,
school
no.
safety and car parks.
Can you leave that with me? I'll look it up. Yeah.
Oh no, here it says it's Black Swan or TIDS.
On that note, when we're talking about schools, I know what we had, was it the Safe Schools Initiative? And there has been one meeting, has there, with the schools around that? Or has there been more than that?
Just to explain Safe Schools, councillors, Safe Schools is a funding pool, but that is for more social / community type soft projects. Safe Schools is not a means for councils to fund upgrades around schools. Safe Schools is the schools themselves that can put up school safety initiatives. I don't know the extent of it, but it's definitely not intended as a funding program to do infrastructure upgrades by local government. So it's whether they want to promote cycling to school. I presume it involves things such as walking, cycling, kiss and ride, whatever, any of those type of initiatives that the school wants to undertake. I actually don't have the full scope of it. I can circulate it to councillors as a just what the guidelines are for safe schools. Safer schools, I think is
Yeah, something like that. So not like our step down areas or.
No, it's not. It's Safer Schools is definitely, it's a community funding initiative. It's definitely not for council to tap into get hard infrastructure and small grants, a couple of $1,000 here and there. I'll bring that as I might just bring that as a info update to the next.
Thank you.
I don't know when there's another roundup, but I'll just put it on.
Council, any other questions?
Just for information, Chair, just the RTA memorandum of agreement, which we'll talk about it at the LJQ advisory group meeting, Transport Advisory Group meeting. It's on the 27th of this month, and then after that, the new memorandum of agreement will go to the LGAQ conference in October. So it's to do with relevant TMR district staff and other relevant stakeholders within the department. Feedback.
Just through the chair, Councillor, you said RTA.
RTA.
Is that's the LJQ?
Russell. Yeah, Russell. Hoyles or some name is he. He's Michelle's been replaced by this Russell fellow, who's been around. He's been around forever, but he's only there for a little while. And it just says TMR will obtain feedback and opinion on the new MOA from its relevant TMR's district staff and other relevant stakeholders. LGAQ will initially seek comment through its roads and transport advisory group before obtaining feedback and opinion from councils on any improvements that could be made. And it's intended to release the MOA at the annual conference in October. So that'll be coming to councils from after our LGAQ Transport Advisory Group meeting.
Thanks for that update, Councillor Robb. No other questions in relation to that? Well, that report is there, and there is a recommendation in relation to that. Would someone like to move we receive that report? And Councillor Daniel, second Councillor Brinkcombe, that we receive the Infrastructure and Utilities Departmental Update Report.
Oh,
How did we forget that? It says,
I'm quite happy for
you are the highlight, or one of the most fabulous highlights of this committee, or this standing committee, and you're sitting there that quietly and patiently. Peter Manning, over to you, the floor is yours.
I'll just quickly run through mine. I've taken them as read. First one, I guess we probably made both our accountants and 3 irrigators happy by putting the 2,500 megalitres up for temporary transfer. So we received $390,000 for that in the last week of the financial year. Collaboration with other councils. We're still trying to push forward with Aurobindo, but Queensland Water have organised for the next council collaboration meeting on the 16th of August in Rockhampton, which I should be attending. The drinking water quality management plans were due this year for the first 4-yearly external audit, which we have to do before we then review the plans and resubmit them. So the audit took place midway through June, so we've had the draft report to look at before it goes through to the regulator. I just have to sign my life away with a stat deck that it's all true today to get it sent in. And the last one is, it was late last year, October, we took part in what was DEWS at the time, but now DNRME study, or first part of the study into sustainability for remote regional water service providers. So the project kind of was on hold a little while the state government department reorganisation took place. But that's back going again, and the department came up and met Gerard and I last month to discuss our findings, and then we agreed to go on to the next step, which is that they'll organise meetings with us and the other 7 that took part sort of in August, September, to work together and go through the findings as a group and what things we can do to work together. And it's supposed to feed the department on some policy matters on how we can deal with, or they can help smaller providers.
Thanks, Peter. Councillors, questions?
No questions.
Nothing with the drinking water audit, nothing stands out.
Well, like all audits, there was probably, trying to think, they're called one major non-compliance and about 4 or 5 minors, and then a whole lot of suggestions for improvement. Overall, as I say, you can see we've made good progress over the last 4 years, and in the interest of like continual improvement, we should tighten some of the things we put in. The plans have what's called a risk improvement management plan, where we've a list of capital works, for instance, to reduce risks to water supply, and saying we were probably over optimistic in our delivery dates. So that's one of the non-conformances, that we didn't meet our dates for some of the upgrades, but overall it was a positive review.
Thank you very much, Peter.
That's all.
Thanks for your patience. Right, would you like to talk about the disaster management?
Yep, I'll quickly run through the few main points there. Building regional resilience. I take that as read. The only outcome of that was that under the under natural disaster resilience program, we were successful with 2 projects. The one is the funding of the joint funding of the Isaac River floodplain or River Creek system. So that modelling project got some funding, and I'm just suddenly looking over at Susan Wood, which was another project that got funding.
Oh, improvements to our network.
And continue, we seem to be very good at getting more funding for our early warning network out in our Fitzroy catchment. So the 2 positives, one bit of modelling with on the Isaac catchment, and additional funding for more early warning river gauge and rainfall gauge infrastructure. And then I just touched on the flood warning. We touched on the flood warning network and operations and maintenance. We can flag that that report Wilkinson did as in his secondment to BOM was well received, and we are hoping to see some movement in terms of where all the agencies want to go in future with managing the operations and maintenance of this multiple owned infrastructure. I can't predicate what the outcome's going to be, but there is a need to consolidate who's going to own and operate and maintain the network, instead of having 2 or 3 different agencies running around trying to look after the network. So there's still work to be done in that space. A list of all the latest installations and upgrades. As you can see, there's quite a bit happening. And early warning sirens, I'll just take that as read. There's still issues surrounding Rubble Park, so we'll leave that aside. And I believe the one at East Nagoa is being delivered, but due for installation.
The pole and sirens itself all been assembled on the ground, and the concrete foundation was poured yesterday.
Okay, so that one hopefully will go in without any issues. But there are some issues around the Rubble Park one, which is being resolved as we speak, I hope.
So the ball is back in the Sunwater Court, pardon fund.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll receive those updates. Thank you very much. We will just go back to, we had original mover of the report being Councillor Mendes and seconded Councillor Brooklyn, and moving forward to receive the rest of the report. So if everyone's in favour, it's carried. Thank you, Susan. Councillors, general business, we might go straight into that before a couple of closed session items. Does anyone have any general business? No. Well, I have a couple of things I wanted to just raise quickly, and one is in relation to that black spot funding for not the roads but the telecommunications. And following on from our conversation with Santos yesterday, I don't know if we need a resolution from this council to progress an application, as council definitely putting in our, is that just something that we do anyway?
Thinking about the acting CEO, I would be more progressive if we want to take that on notice.
Well, I guess,
A resolution is always good, thank you.
and I guess it's not
So
to
we can-
exclude those other
Yeah.
important sites in the Central Highlands, but it's just to make sure that somebody does actually follow up and.
And this is about maximising the partnership opportunity, is that correct?
Yeah, the partnership opportunity, and I'd also like to see what other, black spots would be, council would be considering to put in under that round. We do have a list, so whether they just stick the whole list in or.
I'm just wondering.
Through you, Madam Chair, I think to follow up on that's a very good point, and to support our efforts in our strategy around cluster, improving black spot sites, that we would, as a continuance of the Santos, improvements to the Castle Rock and the Mount.
Yes.
The two sites in the Arcadia Valley, the third site obviously further up the valley, be incorporated into that cluster as a priority in this case.
And it might be after, it might be after a technical assessment that looks at a broader community benefit, that those tower locations should change, or the type of infrastructure they put in might look a bit different. So, and I wouldn't like to say.
Castle Hill and Mount Kingsley, sorry.
Call the resolution.
Councillor Hill and Mount Kingsley.
Through the chair, and I just saw direction, not knowing which other sites are potentially in play. Is it possible that we could defer this resolution to the general meeting and we can prepare
Yeah, let's do
something?
that. That'll be even better.
Because general manager communities who had carriage of this isn't present, so we make sure we put some words together and we can formalise it in the general meeting.
That's a superb.
Thank you.
Sheldon, you've excelled in your role today.
Thank you, I'll work that out together.
All right, sorry.
Well, there's no more general business. We'll move swiftly into closed session. That'd be great to be on time. Move, Councillor Nixon. Second, any All right, yeah, so back on. Okay, so we're live. So we've got the two items there that we're in closed session. So if we could have somebody. In relation to the departmental updates for infrastructure review and, for commercial services, would someone like to move that we receive that departmental update? Move councillor Daniels. Oh, is that your hand up? Second, councillor Brimblecombe, all in favour? Carried enthusiastically, and the second one is that we receive the infrastructure and utilities departmental update report highlighting key activities. Would someone like to move that? Councillor Rolfe. Anyone? Second, councillor all in favour? We got it. Everyone's so enthusiastic because we finished before 10:15. Councillors, thank you very much for your participation, enthusiasm and attendance. Thank you, Peter Manning, and all of the relevant staff and officers. Thank you, Jason Hoolihan. Hope you get better soon, and all the other live streamers who are tuning into this exciting standing committee. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.